Hey, what's up, guys? I'm at Discount Target, which is also known as Walmart today. We've got this book by Sophie Jordan. Ooh, this Scot of mine is a New York Times best-selling author. Also, it's deliciously sexy. So let's get down to the dirty of it before I get kicked out. Where was I? In response, he shocked her by delving between her thighs and easing one finger inside her moist heat. What are... She couldn't finish the question. She flew out of her skin. She had never felt anything like it. Sensations bombarded her as he stroked in and out of her, lightly circling a sensitive pleasure point above her folds. She writhed. Small, incoherent sounds bubbling up in her throat. "Please," she begged, without modesty or any sense of dignity. He finally took mercy on her and gave her body what it craved. His thumb pushed down on that spot and rolled it in a swift circle. Ooh, motherfucking new video game shit. All right, back to serious mode. She arched against him, clawing his shoulders. He added a second finger and thrust both of them inside her with deep, slow drags. He caught her lips in another blistering kiss, drinking the sounds from her mouth as he worked her into a frenzy, his thumb pushing and circling. "You feel so very perfect, Clara." His guttural brogue only added to the delicious torment. She felt his voice as tangibly as his touch. The deep, twisting pleasure in her core built and built. "Come, lass," he growled against her mouth. "Let go." Writhing, she shook her head, not certain what he was asking, but what she needed to do. Then his mouth was gone. He was gone, blinking, her head lifted, searching, bewildered. "Hunt, what are you?" All speech fled on a strangled shriek as his mouth landed down there, where his hand had been. She froze and tensed. His lips closed around that nub and sucked, his tongue laving at the little pearl buried in her femininity. Pleasure exploded inside her, centered directly where his mouth fused so intimately on her. She fell back on the bed with a moan. Hot waves of sensation that seemed to go on forever rolled over her as he loved her so thoroughly. She buried her hands in his hair and tugged hard on the ends, urging him on. His hand slid beneath her, gripping her bottom and hauling her closer to his mouth. He continued working his magic with his lips and tongue until she fell back on the bed, her chest heaving like she had just to run a race. He came up, crawling over her like a predator, looking very intent, his blue eyes gleaming darkly. He looked tempting and masculine with his arms braced on either side of her, his biceps flexing to support his weight. He traced a finger over her mouth. She snatched hold of it with her teeth. She didn't know where the impulse came from, but she bit down on the tip, enjoying the way his entire body tensed, muscles locking. She touched the tip of her tongue to his finger. If possible, his eyes grew darker. Unbelievably, the intense ache returned between her legs. She clamped her thighs together as if that could somehow assuage the throbbing there. And, let's see if there's anything good real quick. More foreplay, a lot of foreplay in this. So I just want to see them. Oh, there we go. We're going to jump to page 185, way past the foreplay here. And here it is. He groaned and bracketed his arms on either side of her, quickening his pace and his thrusts growing harder, each one driving a sharp cry from her. She angled her hips, taking in more of him, following her instincts, searching for a way to bring him closer, deeper, to assuage that ache that only seemed to grow. More she pleaded. She had to move. She lifted her hips to better meet his plunging manhood. She whimpered at the drag of him against her aching flesh. The friction drove her wild. Pressure built at her center, coiling to her belly. Her body demanded more, needed it harder. Her hands moved to clench the firm flesh of his buttocks. And that's a 4-minute video. That's going to be it for the day, guys. Remember, go out there, read some books. It's good for you. If you like this, hit subscribe down below. My name is Ron.